The casting call heard round the internet. The reality TV landscape is littered with dating shows, from The Bachelor to Love is Blind, but there is something uniquely unfiltered about a family-run casting call. During recent social media broadcasts, June and Pumpkin made their intentions crystal clear. Jessica needs a fresh start, and they are taking the reins to find her a new girlfriend. But this isn't just a casual setup. The stakes are broadcast level high. The chosen applicants won't just be going on quiet coffee dates, they will be heavily featured on the next season of the family's hit WeTV series. The producers, the lighting crews, the mic packs, and the inevitable family interrogations are all part of the package deal. The criteria, according to the family. Camera ready, you must be willing to film. This isn't a private romance, this is a storyline. Thick skin, if you thought meeting the parents was tough, imagine meeting Mama June, Pumpkin, Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson, and Pumpkin's husband, Josh Efford, all while they dissect your intentions on national television. Genuine intentions. Despite the public spectacle, the family is fiercely protective of Jessica. After the brutal, highly publicized end of her last relationship, they are demanding loyalty and honesty from anyone who steps up to the plate. For fans of the show, this casting call is the ultimate fourth wall break. It invites the audience to step off the couch and directly into the Mama June cinematic universe, the heartbreak that started it all. To understand why the family is stepping in to manage Jessica's love life, you have to look at the devastating, whirlwind events of the past few months. In early 2026, fans watched a beautiful, emotional storyline unfold as Jessica married her girlfriend, Cheyenne McCant. The two had been dating since 2022, and their romance was a focal point of Jessica's coming-out journey. Their televised wedding, which aired on WeTV in May 2026, was framed as a triumphant, joyous moment for the often embattled Shannon clan. But behind the scenes, the fairy tale was already shattering. Just 3 weeks after their televised wedding aired, Jessica and Cheyenne announced they were splitting up. The whiplash was severe, but the drama was only just beginning. In true Shannon family fashion, the dirty laundry wasn't just aired, it was blasted across social media. In late July 2026, Mama June took to Instagram to utterly scorch the earth. She posted a photo explicitly putting Cheyenne on blast, accusing her of cheating on Jessica. June's caption held absolutely nothing back. "Y'all have been wanting to see who Cheyenne cheated with and left Jessica for, here you go. Mackenzie is in the middle of them in the red shirt." Cheyenne quickly fired back with her own statement, admitting to the infidelity and expressing regret, but shifting some of the blame onto the toxic dynamics caused by June herself. Cheyenne claimed she had been asking Jessica for a divorce for months due to deep-seated issues involving Mama June's interference in their marriage. The fallout left Jessica heartbroken, humiliated, and single just as the cameras were gearing up for the next production cycle. Enter Pumpkin and June, hyperprotective, fiercely loyal, and acutely aware that a Jessica finds love again storyline is exactly what the fans want to see. The evolution of Jessica Chubbs. Shannon. Of all the members of the Shannon family, Jessica has often been the quietest, yet arguably the most relatable. First introduced to the world as Chubbs on TLC's Toddlers and Tiaras and later Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, Jessica spent years in the background while June and Alana commanded the spotlight. However, over the last few years, Jessica has undergone a massive personal evolution. The glow-up and coming out in 2020, Jessica underwent a highly publicized physical transformation, focusing on her health and well-being. But her true glow-up was emotional. In 2022, rumors about her sexuality began to swirl after she posted photos with Cheyenne on Instagram. In August of that year, she officially came out, announcing her relationship with the single mom and completely embracing her identity. Fans rallied around her. In a family known for chaotic arrests, bitter feuds, and screaming matches, Jessica's storyline provided a grounding, heartfelt emotional core. She was navigating real, relatable life milestones. When she married Cheyenne, the audience celebrated with her. When she was betrayed, the audience mourned with her. Now, at 29 years old, Jessica is a resilient, openly gay reality star who has survived public heartbreak. The audience is profoundly invested in seeing her win. The casting call isn't just a gimmick, For the viewers, it is an interactive quest to get Jessica the happy ending she deserves. The WeTV masterminds. It is impossible to discuss this dating venture without examining the sheer producing genius of Mama June and Pumpkin. Love them or hate them, the mother-daughter duo understands the mechanics of reality television better than almost anyone in the business. When Here Comes Honey Boo Boo was unceremoniously cancelled in 2014 following Mama June's scandalous personal life choices, many assumed the family's 15 minutes of fame were over. Instead, they clawed their way back into the zeitgeist with Mama June, From Not to Hot, which eventually evolved into Family Crisis. They have survived addiction storylines, federal court cases, bitter custody battles over Alana, and marriages falling apart. Through it all, Pumpkin stepped up as the matriarch in training, raising Alana, having 5 children with her husband Josh, and holding the family together while June was absent. By turning Jessica's heartbreak into a public casting call, June and Pumpkin are doing what they do best, taking control of the narrative. Instead of letting the tabloids dictate the story of Jessica's divorce, they are flipping the script. They are making the audience active participants in the healing process. It is a masterful stroke of reality TV production, ensuring that the next season will have a built-in audience of fans eagerly waiting to see who applied, who made the cut, and who cracked under the pressure. What applicants actually need to know. If you are a woman reading this and thinking, I should apply to date Jessica, you need a reality check on exactly what you are walking into. Dating Jessica means dating the Shannon effort enterprise. Here is the gauntlet you will have to survive. 1. The interrogation by Pumpkin and Josh. Pumpkin is fiercely protective of her sisters. She raised Alana and has seen Jessica get hurt too many times. Her husband, Josh Efford, is equally defensive. Any potential girlfriend will likely be subjected to a sit-down at the Efford house, surrounded by their fleet of children, where your background, job history, and motives will be ruthlessly questioned on camera. 2. The Mama June factor. June Shannon is a wild card. As Cheyenne noted in her post-split defense, June's involvement in her daughters' lives can be suffocating and chaotic. An applicant isn't just proving they love Jessica, they are figuring out how to navigate June's larger-than-life personality, her husband Justin Stroud, and her tendency to insert herself into the center of every conflict. 3. The camera crew. Dating is awkward. Dating with a boom mic dangling above your head while a producer asks you to repeat that sentence, but with more emotion, is excruciating. Applicants must be entirely comfortable having their flaws, missteps, and private moments broadcast to millions. 4. The social media scrutiny. The moment a new girlfriend is introduced on Family Crisis, internet sleuths will pull her entire digital footprint. Reddit threads will dissect her past relationships, TikTokers will analyze her body language, and the tabloids will print her history. The state of reality TV dating. The concept of casting regular people to date reality stars isn't entirely new. MTV's A Double Shot at Love, VH1's Flavor of Love, and even the Bachelor franchise operate on a similar premise. However, those shows exist in a vacuum, a locked-down mansion where the sole purpose is dating. What makes this casting call unique is the integration into a pre-existing docuseries. The winning applicants won't be living in a glamorous mansion in Malibu, they will be dropped directly into the messy, rural Georgia/Alabama reality of the Shannon family. It is less The Bachelorette and more Meet the Parents, Extreme Edition. This format actually tests relationships more authentically. Can you handle a chaotic family barbecue? Can you handle the drama of Josh and Pumpkin's marital tension? Can you support Jessica while she navigates the legal fallout of her divorce? It is trial by fire, and it makes for incredibly compelling television, fan reactions, and the road ahead. The reaction across social media has been explosive. On the r/Mama June From Not to Hot Reddit community, fans are already debating what kind of woman Jessica needs. The consensus is clear: no clout chasers, no reality TV wannabes, just someone grounded, kind, and completely detached from the entertainment industry. Jessica needs a boring, normal girl who works a 9 to 5 and doesn't care about TikTok followers, wrote one prominent Reddit user. If they cast an influencer, we riot. Over on TikTok, however, the applications are practically rolling in via video stitches. Influencers and fans alike are making pitch videos, tagging Pumpkin and Mama June, listing their credentials, and promising to treat Jessica like a queen. As the cameras gear up to capture the next season, the family is currently sifting through these applications. The upcoming episodes promise a blend of high-drama matchmaking, post-divorce healing, and the classic, unpredictable Shannon chaos. The Shannon family has spent more than a decade living under a microscope. Long before social media made family drama instantly shareable, Mama June Shannon and her daughters became television personalities whose everyday lives were turned into entertainment. Alana Thompson became known around the world as Honey Boo Boo, while her older sisters Lauren Pumpkin Efford and Jessica Chubbs Shannon gradually became recognizable personalities in their own right. But the family looks very different in 2026. Alana is now an adult and a college student building a future away from the identity that made her famous. Pumpkin has become a mother of 4, gone through a divorce, entered a new relationship and pursued a controversial new income stream. Jessica recently filed for divorce after a short marriage that had been featured on television. And Mama June continues to navigate her own health concerns, marriage, motherhood, and the complicated reality of remaining connected to adult daughters who increasingly make their own decisions. The result is a family story that is no longer simply about a famous mother and her famous youngest daughter. It is now about 4 adult women whose lives have developed in dramatically different directions. And 2026 has brought some of the biggest changes yet. The Shannon family has entered a new era. When viewers first met Alana Thompson, she was a child. Her personality was enormous. Her catchphrases became part of pop culture. Her mother, June Shannon, became a reality TV star almost overnight. The family's original show, Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, transformed a Georgia family into one of television's most recognizable reality TV households. More than a decade later, however, the central question has changed. It is no longer simply, what is Honey Boo Boo doing? Instead, audiences are watching an entire family transition from childhood fame into adulthood. That transition has not been smooth. There have been marriages and divorces, custody disputes, relationship changes, health scares, family arguments, reconciliations and new careers. Much of it has played out on WeTV's Mama June, From Not to Hot, which returned for an 8th season in March 2026. The season followed Pumpkin's new relationship, Jessica's wedding plans, Alana's life away from home and June's health concerns. Season 8 made one thing particularly clear: the sisters are no longer simply supporting characters in their mother's story. They have their own lives. And sometimes those lives collide. Mama June, still at the center of the family. June Shannon remains the person most closely associated with the family's television history. She first became famous as Alana's mother, but her own life eventually became the central subject of Mama June, From Not to Hot and its later incarnations. Over the years, viewers have watched June experience enormous personal changes. Her relationship with her daughters has gone through periods of closeness and estrangement. Her struggles with addiction and legal problems became major parts of the family's public story. Her daughters at different points took on responsibilities that went far beyond what viewers might normally expect from siblings. One of the most important examples was Alana's living arrangement. Lauren, or Pumpkin, eventually became a major caregiver and parental figure in Alana's life. People has previously reported that Pumpkin was granted full custody of Alana in 2022 after June's legal troubles. That history continues to influence how the family relates to one another. June may be Alana's mother, but Pumpkin was also the sister who helped raise her. That distinction matters. It helps explain why family disagreements can become emotionally complicated. A disagreement between June and Pumpkin is not simply a disagreement between 2 adults. It can involve years of history, responsibility, resentment, loyalty, and changing family roles. Mama June's 2026 health concerns. One of the more serious storylines surrounding June in 2026 has involved her health. In March, June revealed that she had undergone an unexpected total hysterectomy the previous year after experiencing fibroid cysts and related concerns. She also discussed another medical issue that she said could potentially leave her immobilized. The news understandably attracted attention because June has spent much of her public life discussing personal struggles in front of cameras. But there was an important clarification. June said the condition was not cancer. TMZ reported that June specifically clarified that her new health issue was not cancer and that it was not expected to be life-threatening, although she had previously described the condition as potentially immobilizing. That distinction is important. Celebrity health stories can easily become exaggerated online, particularly when an initial description sounds frightening. In June's case, the available reporting supports the existence of significant health concerns, but it does not support claims that she has cancer or that she is facing an immediately life-threatening illness. That is an important line between reporting and speculation. Pumpkin's new chapter. Lauren Pumpkin Efford has arguably undergone one of the biggest transformations of any member of the family. She went from being one of the older sisters on Here Comes Honey Boo Boo to becoming one of the primary adults responsible for keeping the family together during difficult periods. She later became a mother herself. Pumpkin and Josh Efford had 4 children together: Ella, Bentley, twins Silas and Stella. Their marriage eventually ended. Pumpkin filed for divorce from Josh in August 2024, and the breakup became an important storyline on Mama June, Family Crisis. Her life after divorce has involved balancing motherhood, relationships, television, and financial independence. In 2026, that story took another dramatic turn. Pumpkin introduced a new boyfriend, Darren Kitchens. The relationship became part of the 8th season of Mama June, From Not to Hot. The show immediately used the relationship as a source of tension because Darren's presence complicated Pumpkin's interactions with her former husband, Josh. The season premiere specifically centered on Pumpkin introducing Darren to the family while Jessica's wedding drama was simultaneously unfolding. For Pumpkin, however, the relationship was only one piece of a much larger personal transition. Pumpkin's controversial new business move. Perhaps the most talked about Pumpkin story of 2026 has been her decision to create adult-oriented content on OnlyFans. Pumpkin announced the venture in March. At first, she described it as a financial opportunity and said boyfriend Darren supported her decision. TMZ reported at the time that she initially planned to keep her material solo. The financial results quickly became part of the story. By the end of March, TMZ reported that Pumpkin said she was approaching 6 figures in earnings after only about 2 weeks on the platform and had reached the top 0.5% of creators. Those claims generated a substantial amount of attention because they represented a dramatic change from the image viewers had known since Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. But the story did not end there. By August, Pumpkin had moved into more explicit adult content, and the change reignited public discussion. Mama June responds to Pumpkin. The newest major development came in August 2026. Mama June publicly discussed Pumpkin's decision and said she understood that her adult daughter was capable of making her own choices. At the same time, June expressed reservations. Her concerns were not simply about the money. They were also about Pumpkin's children. June said she worried about what Pumpkin's 4 children might think when they are older and potentially encounter their mother's online material. That concern reflects a recurring theme in the Shannon family story. Decisions made by one family member can affect everyone else. Pumpkin, meanwhile, has defended her choice as a financial decision. Recent reporting says she views the work as another revenue stream and has emphasized the desire to provide for her children and build financial independence. There is an important distinction here. People can disagree about Pumpkin's decision without pretending that the decision is not hers to make. She is an adult. She is responsible for her own career. And, unlike during her childhood television years, she now has the ability to choose what kind of public life she wants. That independence is arguably one of the most significant changes in Pumpkin's story. Why Pumpkin's decision has become such a big story. The fascination surrounding Pumpkin's OnlyFans career is not simply about adult content. It is about identity. For years, the public saw Pumpkin as the protective older sister. She was the teenager who became a mother. She became Alana's guardian. She became the daughter who frequently confronted June. She became a wife. Then she became a divorced mother of 4. Now she is building another version of herself. The controversy comes partly from the fact that her new career clashes with the image some viewers have retained from her childhood. But that image belongs to another era. Pumpkin is 26 years old in 2026. She is not the same person viewers watched as a teenager. That distinction is especially important when discussing former child reality stars. Audiences often freeze famous children at the age when they became famous. The person grows up. The public memory does not. Jessica Shannon's divorce. Jessica Chubb's Shannon has also experienced one of the biggest personal developments of 2026. In June, news broke that Jessica had separated from her wife, Cheyenne McCant. The breakup occurred only weeks after their wedding was featured on Mama June, From Not to Hot. People reported that Jessica confirmed the separation and asked fans not to create unnecessary drama around the situation. The timing was striking. Viewers had just watched their wedding. Then the relationship ended. Jessica and Cheyenne had been together since 2022 and announced their engagement in 2024. Their wedding was part of the show's 8th-season storyline. That meant the public was watching a relationship on television at almost exactly the same time that the real relationship was ending. Reality television has always had this problem. A season can take months to film. A relationship can change overnight. By the time an episode reaches viewers, the people on screen may already be living completely different lives. That is precisely what happened with Jessica. Jessica files for divorce. The situation became more definitive in July. According to court documents reported by TMZ and E! News, Jessica filed for divorce on July 24, 2026. She listed June 1 as the date of separation and described the marriage as irretrievably broken. The couple had married in September 2025, although their wedding was filmed and later shown as part of the television series. The divorce filing followed reports about infidelity. TMZ reported that Cheyenne admitted to cheating, while also saying that she had previously expressed unhappiness in the marriage and had wanted a divorce. Jessica's court filing reportedly sought restoration of her maiden name, Shannon. The settlement information reported by TMZ also indicated that neither party was seeking alimony and that they reported no marital property or debts requiring division. In other words, what began as a televised wedding storyline has now become a legal separation. Why Jessica's story resonates differently. Jessica has historically received less public attention than Pumpkin and Alana. She was part of the original Here Comes Honey Boo Boo family, but she did not become the central personality that Alana became. She also did not occupy Pumpkin's particular role as Alana's guardian. As a result, Jessica's adult life has sometimes unfolded more quietly. That makes the 2026 divorce particularly notable. It is a reminder that every member of the family is living a separate adult life. Jessica is not simply Honey Boo Boo's sister. She is a 29-year-old woman navigating her own relationships, career, and decisions. And she has made clear that she does not want the breakup turned into unnecessary public drama. That request deserves to be respected. The wedding that quickly became a divorce story. There is an unusual television irony in Jessica's situation. The audience was introduced to the wedding as a celebration. The 8th season built episodes around preparations, family disagreements, wedding planning, and clashes involving June, Jessica, Cheyenne, Pumpkin, Josh and Darren. WeTV's episode descriptions show just how central the wedding was to the season. Early episodes dealt with bridal shower conflict and disagreements involving family members, while later episodes focused on wedding plans and the ceremony itself. The season finale, titled Wedding Bells and Betrayals, was built around Jessica and Cheyenne's wedding. Then, weeks later, the marriage was publicly over. That is the kind of real-life development that reality television cannot easily manufacture. It is also a reminder that the family's television narrative and real life are increasingly difficult to separate. Honey Boo Boo is no longer a child star in the traditional sense. Then there is Alana Thompson. Perhaps the most important fact about Alana in 2026 is also the simplest. She grew up. The child who was once introduced to viewers as Honey Boo Boo is now a young adult. That transition has been a central theme of her recent public life. In 2025, Lifetime released I Was Honey Boo Boo, a biographical drama inspired by Alana's life. Lifetime's official description framed the project around Alana's childhood fame, the pressures behind the public image and her determination to move beyond the labels associated with her childhood. The project was significant because it allowed Alana's story to be presented from a perspective that was much more mature than the child audiences originally knew. She was no longer simply the funny little girl from television. She was an adult reflecting on what happened to her. Alana's life beyond reality television. By 2026, Alana's priorities have increasingly centered on education and her future. In April, Mama June told people that Alana was in Denver and expected to graduate from college the following year. June said Alana was pursuing her goal of becoming a pediatric intensive care nurse and was working at a Denver hospital. That is a remarkable departure from the world of child reality television. Instead of building her adult identity exclusively around entertainment, Alana is pursuing a professional career. Her story demonstrates how complicated child fame can be. At 6 or 7 years old, a child does not necessarily understand what becoming famous means. At 20, however, that person has to decide whether the famous identity still belongs to them. Alana appears increasingly interested in defining herself on her own terms. The meaning of Honey Boo Boo has changed. There was a time when Honey Boo Boo was simply Alana. Today, it is better understood as a character, a brand, and a chapter of her life. That distinction matters. The nickname became famous because of Alana's personality on television. But she has spent years trying to establish herself as more than the child audiences remember. Her Lifetime project explicitly explored that tension. The official synopsis describes a young woman attempting to shed the labels that followed her and create a future beyond her childhood celebrity identity. This is perhaps the most interesting part of the Shannon family story. Everyone is growing up. But they are growing up in public. Alana and Pumpkin, sisters, but also something more complicated. The relationship between Alana and Pumpkin is one of the emotional foundations of the family story. Pumpkin is Alana's older sister. But for years, she was also a caregiver and parental figure. That history creates a relationship that is different from a typical sibling relationship. There can be affection. There can be resentment. There can be gratitude. There can also be disagreements over independence. As Alana became an adult and moved away for college, the relationship necessarily changed. The older sister who once had to protect and supervise Alana could no longer treat her as a child. And Alana could no longer remain in the role of younger sister forever. That is a difficult transition for any family. It is even more complicated when cameras are involved. Alana's relationship with Mama June. June's relationship with Alana has also gone through enormous changes. There were periods when Alana was separated from her mother. There were years when June's struggles became central to the family's problems. There were also later attempts to repair the relationship. By 2026, June and Alana appear to have a relationship that is more complicated than the simple mother-daughter dynamic viewers saw during Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. The television series continues to document moments of conflict and reconciliation. Season 8, for example, included June receiving alarming news involving Alana and later rushing to Colorado after an incident involving her daughter. WeTV's episode descriptions confirm that Alana remained an important part of the season even while living her own life away from the family home. That physical distance may actually be part of Alana's independence. She is building a life of her own. The accident in Season 8. One of the more dramatic storylines in the 8th season involved Alana and an incident that prompted June to travel to Colorado. WeTV's episode description for What Happens in Florida says June rushed to Colorado after Alana's accident. The episode was another example of the family dynamic. Even when the daughters are adults, June remains a mother who wants to be involved. But adult children do not always want their parents involved in everything. That tension is a recurring theme in the Shannon family's story, the Season 8 family dynamic. Season 8 of Mama June, From Not to Hot aired from March 2026, with the 10th episode airing in May. The season contained 10 episodes, according to episode listings, and focused heavily on family relationships. The major storylines included Pumpkin's new relationship with Darren, Pumpkin's ongoing co-parenting relationship with Josh, Jessica's wedding to Cheyenne, conflicts involving June and Cheyenne, Alana's adult life in Colorado, June's health concerns, Josh becoming a father again, tensions between Pumpkin and Jessica, the eventual wedding and betrayal storyline. These were not isolated stories. They overlapped. That's what makes the Shannon family particularly compelling for reality television. One person's relationship affects another. A new boyfriend changes the dynamic between ex-spouses. A wedding creates conflicts between siblings. A mother's financial decisions affect her daughters. A health scare changes the emotional atmosphere. And Alana's independence forces everyone to reconsider their old roles. Pumpkin and Josh, co-parenting after divorce. Pumpkin's divorce from Josh changed her family structure. The two are no longer married, but they remain connected through their children. That means the relationship cannot simply disappear. They have to communicate. They have to coordinate. They have to deal with new partners. And they have to make decisions involving their children. This is especially challenging because Pumpkin's new boyfriend, Darren, became part of the reality TV storyline. Season 8 repeatedly highlighted the potential tension between Josh and Darren. The official episode descriptions specifically mention Josh and Darren meeting face-to-face and Pumpkin worrying about the two men crossing paths. That storyline is familiar to millions of divorced parents. The difference is that Pumpkin's family life is being filmed. The children at the center of everything. Pumpkin's 4 children are an important part of understanding her choices. Her public explanation for building new sources of income has frequently centered on providing for them. That includes her controversial OnlyFans business. Whether audiences agree with her choices or not, her stated motivation is financial independence and supporting her children. That is different from saying every person must approve of the method she chose. It is possible to acknowledge both facts. Pumpkin is responsible for her choices. And her children are part of the consequences of those choices. That is precisely why June said she worried about what the children might think when they grow older. The disagreement is therefore not simply about morality. It is about parenting, privacy, money, identity, and the permanence of internet content. The internet has changed the Shannon family story. When Here Comes Honey Boo Boo premiered in 2012, social media existed, but today's creator economy did not operate at anything close to its current scale. A reality star's career was largely controlled by television networks, magazines, appearances, and traditional advertising. Today, a person can bypass television entirely. They can communicate directly with fans. They can monetize an audience themselves. They can create subscription content. They can sell merchandise. They can build brands. Pumpkin's OnlyFans career is an extreme example of this shift. Her television fame helped build the audience. But the platform allows her to monetize that audience independently. That is a major change from the world in which the Shannon family originally became famous. Mama June and the question of good money. June's reaction to Pumpkin is revealing. Rather than simply condemning her daughter, June acknowledged that Pumpkin is an adult who can make her own decisions. But she also warned that not all money is necessarily good money. That statement captures the generational difference between them. Pumpkin sees an opportunity. June sees both the opportunity and the long-term consequences. Neither perspective completely cancels out the other. For a family that has lived publicly for years, the question of where to draw boundaries is particularly difficult. What happens when something posted online cannot be erased? What happens when a child's classmates find it? What happens when the children become teenagers? What happens when family members disagree? These are not theoretical questions for the Shannon family. They are part of the reality they are living. Jessica's situation shows another side of public relationships. Jessica's divorce provides a contrasting example. Pumpkin has chosen to monetize her public image more aggressively. Jessica, meanwhile, appears to have asked for privacy and restraint around her breakup. After confirming the separation, Jessica asked people not to create unnecessary drama. That is significant. Reality television depends on drama. Social media often rewards drama. Celebrity coverage often rewards drama. But the people involved still have to live with the consequences after the cameras stop. Jessica's request suggests that she wants the situation handled differently from the way some family controversies have been handled in the past. Why the divorce story became bigger than the wedding. Jessica's wedding was a television event. The divorce became a news event. Those are two different things. Television focused on preparations, family conflict, and celebration. News coverage later focused on the legal filing and the circumstances surrounding the breakup. The contrast demonstrates how reality television can create an unusual timeline. Viewers may emotionally invest in a relationship after seeing a wedding episode. But the relationship may already be over by the time they watch it. That creates a strange disconnect. The audience sees a beginning. The people involved are already dealing with an ending. Mama June's role as mother and television personality. June's position is perhaps the hardest one in the family. She is simultaneously a mother, a wife, a reality TV personality, a public figure, a businessperson, a person dealing with health issues, a mother whose daughters are now adults. Every role can conflict with another. As a mother, she may want to protect her daughters. As a television personality, conflict creates content. As a public figure, she has to respond to public criticism. As a wife, she has her own relationship to manage. And as a woman whose daughters are adults, she cannot make decisions for them. That last point may be the most difficult. The family has become 4 separate adult stories. The simplest way to understand the Shannon family in 2026 is to stop thinking of them as one story. They are 4 stories. June. June is dealing with health issues, marriage, and the continuing effort to maintain relationships with her adult daughters. Pumpkin. Pumpkin is a mother of 4 rebuilding her life after divorce, navigating